Some call it the gentleman's game, others call it the most difficult sport in the world. No argument there. Golf is one of the only sports in the world that requires a careful amalgam of physicality and mental acuity. To be the best, players need brawn and brains. So stay tuned and don't go away because we're revealing the 25 greatest shots in history. First up, what does it mean to be great at golf? You're about to find out. To some, being great at golf means producing results that few players, if any, can replicate. To others, being great means displaying a mastery of skill under tremendous pressure, while some have argued that greatness is a combination of the two. One of the simplest ways to assess a player's prowess, however, is to look at their greatest shots on the golf course. We'll start with the world's most legendary golfer, Tiger Woods. At the year 2000 Canadian Open, during the final round of the 18th hole, Tiger attempted an unbelievably gusty shot that most of us would have almost certainly butchered. Many people find it tough to believe that he attempted a 213-yard 6-iron shot out of a sand bunker, over water, to a pin that was placed on the smallest corner of the green. The incredible shot won Tiger the tournament. It's moments of greatness such as these that remind us of two things. One, Tiger's an absolute legend. And two, golf is one of the most beautiful games in existence. 1 year earlier, at the 1999 PGA Championship, Sergiogarcia stunned the golf world during the final round of the 16th hole, when he literally hit a shot with his eyes closed. At that moment, observers witnessed a star being born. Garcia would never reach Tiger's level of superstardom, but that shot was one of the craziest golf had ever seen. Next up, what was one of the loudest crowd reactions to a shot ever? Let's take a look. Back in 1997 at the Phoenix Open at TCP Scottsdale, Tiger was just a rookie when he made one of the greatest shots of his career. As you can see from this clip, the crowd went completely bonkers when he sank the ridiculous hole-in-one on an extremely challenging hole. This goes back to what I said only a moment ago about how greatness can be defined as producing results that few players, if any, can replicate. The first time I saw Tiger make that shot, I was left stunned and at a loss for words. 3 years later at the 2000 AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am, the Tiger shocked the golf world again during the final round of play at the 15th hole. Tiger was 4 shots down with 4 to play, and he was hoping to extend his hot streak to 6. Like a magician, Tiger reached down the deep, pulled a rabbit out of his hat, and pulled off the unthinkable. As you can see from this clip, what he did was truly remarkable and special. Not surprisingly, he went on to win the tournament. At this point, some of you might be thinking, is this going to be all about Tiger? A fair question, and to answer it, no, it won't be. As you're about to see, Tiger's far from the only golf pro to sink some of the greatest shots in golf history. Up next, how did Paul Azinger sink one of the greatest shots in PGA history? We're about to find out. During the final round at the 18th hole of the 1993 Memorial, Paul Azinger pulled off one of the greatest shots in history, leaving golf fans stunned at what they had just witnessed. For most of the week, had been having a really rough time with bunker shots, which even for the greatest golfers often pose a challenge. But Azinger's last bunker shot wasn't only good, it turned out to be one of the greatest shots ever. The shot ultimately gave Azinger a one-shot victory over Corey Pavin, and to this day, it stands out as one of the greatest finishes in the history of the PGA Tour. Our next golfer, Phil Mickelson, needs no introduction. During the final round of play at the 2010 Masters, Mickelson found himself at the famed 13th hole at Augusta National, which many consider to be one of the best risk and reward holes in golf. With a solid drive, it's reachable in 2 shots and offers players a great chance at a birdie, or even eagle. But a poor quality drive can force a layup on the second shot and a missed opportunity. While positioned behind a tree, Mickelson pulled off the unthinkable, one of the greatest shots in PGA history. Stay tuned and don't go away because we're revealing the greatest and craziest shots in PGA history that will blow your mind. Next up, how did Jack Nicklaus surprise the world at the 1972 US Open? We're about to find out. One of Nicklaus's greatest shots ever happened when his 1-iron off the flagstick put him within gimme range and put an end to his battle with Arnold Palmer, securing a championship win. For those of you who may be unfamiliar with actually playing golf, executing a good, let alone a perfect swing with a 1-iron is extremely difficult. And even if you manage to execute a seemingly perfect swing, that doesn't mean you'll properly connect and hit the ball well with a 1-iron. In other words, it's a very tricky club to work with. The fact that Nicklaus managed to hit such an incredible shot with a 1-iron at the 72 Open speaks to how perfectly dialed in he was. Truly amazing. For now though, let's take a look at one of the greatest shots ever from a female golfer that the world has ever seen. Korean golfer Birdie Kim stunned golf fans around the world back in 2005 at the US Women's Open during the final round of play on the 18th hole. hole. Golf historians refer to her epic shot as Birdie's Birdie. Birdie Kim was a relatively unknown women's golfer from South Korea when she found herself tied for the lead on the 72nd hole of the US Open. Kim hit her second shot into the greenside bunker. Kim managed to sink an unbelievable birdie as co-leader Morgan Pressel watched from the fairway. Up next, are you ready for another incredible one-iron shot? If so, come with us as we travel back in time to the 1950 US Open. During the 1950 US Open, Ben Hogan was playing the final round and found himself at the 18th hole. This photograph, which some golf historians have dubbed the pose, shows Hogan's miraculous one-iron shot on the 18th hole at Marion. And believe it or not, what you're seeing is the most famous photograph in golf history. The same historians also consider Hogan's swing to be the single greatest swing in golf history. His one-iron swing helped him make par and force a Monday playoff, which he won decisively. Many golf aficionados commonly joke that, unless you're Ben Hogan or Jack Nicklaus, you should put your one-iron away. But for now, let's fast forward 55 years later to the 2005 Masters for what many have argued is Tiger Woods' most famous shot. Tiger was in his final round of play on the 16th hole, and he needed to make something happen. After a few small practice swings, what Tiger did next is absolutely incredible, and I'm really struggling to put it into words. What I will say is that this is just further proof that Woods is a true legend, in every sense of the word. All those who witnessed the shot, including the announcers, were completely dumbfounded and clearly in shock. What do you think of Tiger's shot on the 16th hole at the 2005 Masters? How many tries do you think it would take you to pull that off? We'd love to know your thoughts, so drop your comments down below. Next up, how do you know when you're the best? When you hit a shot and you don't even have to watch it. In the final round of the 1986 Masters at Augusta, Jack Nicklaus found himself at the 16th hole, and with his son watching, he did the unthinkable. Nicklaus hit an amazing shot and was so confident in his swing that he didn't even bother to look. He just knew in his heart that he had nailed it. Nicklaus's comeback that day is largely considered to be one of the greatest comebacks in golf history, but the best part was watching Nicklaus pick up the tee and walk over to his son smiling brightly from ear to ear. What separates golf from other sports is that you never know when history will be made, or who will be the one making it. It could be a superstar or an unknown. But let's hop back into our time machine for a second and go way back to the 1935 Masters. During the final round of play at the 15th hole, Gene Sarazen did the unimaginable. And get this, he did it with a fairway wood. Unfortunately, given the year that this took place, a video of what Sarazen did is not available. However, it has been carefully documented. Sarazen was trailing by 3 shots, made a double eagle on number 15, and propelled himself to a playoff and eventual victory at the Masters. Most players could never imagine hitting a wood into number 15. These days, players can reach it with a mid-iron, which means a much higher and softer ball flight. Sarazen's shot would have had to have been much lower and with far less spin. In other words, Sarazen's margin of error was razor thin. Sarazen's shot rightly deserves a spot on this list, and it's the stuff that legends are made of. Finally, what happened when Bob Tway decided to tangle with the great white shark at the 1986 PGA Championship? You're about to find out. If there's one thing we know about sharks, it's that if you're not careful, you can get bit. At the 1986 PGA Championship, Bob Tway and Greg Norman were facing off in the final round at the 18th hole. Tway was tied with Norman on the 72nd hole, and Tway went from the deep rough to the deep greenside bunker. Ouch! To all in attendance, it seemed as though Tway's hopes for a championship win were shark food. But obviously, Tway's story didn't end there, and with Norman watching, Tway knocked his bunker shot in for a birdie, leaving the shark totally stunned. It just wasn't Norman's day, and it can be chalked up to bad luck. The bunker that Tway shot was from so deep that you could barely see him when he hit the ball, and he barely had any green to work with. Something tells me that Tway wouldn't be able to pull that shot off again, even if he tried a few thousand times. That's how crazy the shot was. Absolutely incredible. That's a wrap for today's video, golf fans. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more great videos.